This is the AI News Flash for August 6th, 9 a.m. UTC. First up, SoftBank Group reported first quarter earnings, and a roughly $8.2 billion gain on its Intel stake pushed net profit far above what the market expected. Net profit for the 3 months to June came in at 347.3 billion yen, or about $2.2 billion. Analysts had forecast 122 billion yen, so the result was close to 3 times the estimate. Against the same quarter a year earlier, however, profit was down nearly 18%. The single biggest driver was the stake in Intel. Following a roughly $2 billion investment announced last year, SoftBank booked a 1.3 trillion yen gain on the shares it holds. That lifted segment profit at its investment division, which sits separately from the Vision Fund, to 1.05 trillion yen. The Vision Funds told a very different story. Their value rose by just $1.7 billion in the quarter, and segment profit was 5.4 billion yen, down sharply from 451.4 billion yen a year earlier. The prior quarter had delivered close to a $20 billion gain driven almost entirely by OpenAI, but this time OpenAI produced neither a gain nor a loss. In effect, SoftBank's AI profits shifted from model developers to its semiconductor bets. Next, OpenAI has filed a motion asking a judge to throw out Apple's trade secrets lawsuit against the company. Apple sued in July, naming OpenAI and 2 former Apple employees. The complaint alleges that OpenAI improperly obtained Apple's confidential information through departing staff, recruiting practices, and supply chain connections in order to advance its ambitions in consumer hardware. In the filing, OpenAI's lawyers wrote that the company has no use, need, or desire for Apple's trade secrets, and that it is building something entirely new and different from anything at Apple. They also argued that Apple's complaint fails to sufficiently describe the information it claims as protected, and that generalized product development categories are not enough to survive a motion to dismiss. On the hiring allegations, OpenAI says its top hardware executive interviewed Apple employees in line with industry-wide recruiting standards, and that the worker accused of taking information was in fact trying to help a former colleague still at Apple. Third, Acrab, a company building AI silicon for the edge, announced a $130 million Series B round, bringing cumulative funding past $350 million. Existing backers Vertex Ventures Southeast Asia and India, along with Vertex Growth, continued their support, and institutional investors from Europe and Southeast Asia joined this round. The company was founded in 2024 and is led by Dr. Ken Fua, formerly an applications engineer for ARM in Asia and co-chief executive of ARM China. Its main chip, Gilix-1, is a 5-nanometer edge processor pairing a 20-core ARM CPU with a multi-core neural processing unit, and it offers 273 gigabytes per second of unified memory bandwidth. The goal is to run open-source models in the 100 billion parameter class on desktop-sized hardware without routing anything to the cloud. The system built around it, called Agent Box, is sold as a one-time hardware purchase rather than a cloud subscription, and user data stays on the device. Target markets range from homes and personal workspaces to AI PCs, smart vehicles, and industrial and service robots. The company expects to book revenue within this year. Fourth, ByteDance, founder Zhang Yiming has told the company's AI research team that it will not rely on model distillation. The information reported the remarks made at an all-hands meeting of the AI team in July. Distillation is a training method in which a smaller model learns from the outputs of a stronger one, saving training time and compute. Zhang said the company would not use it to accelerate capabilities, even if that meant falling behind domestic rivals in the short term. One of the stated reasons is geopolitical. People familiar with the matter say the decision is shaped by ByteDance's complicated relationship with the U.S. government over its ownership of TikTok, and a desire to avoid giving Washington any fresh reason for scrutiny. Zhang framed real progress in AI as requiring long-termism and delayed gratification, rather than chasing short-term leaderboard rankings derived from other companies' outputs. It is a deliberate act of restraint at a time when Chinese labs have repeatedly been suspected of distilling American frontier models. And finally, new research finds that 92% of sovereign AI large language models the domestic models governments are building for themselves were trained on Nvidia chips. The figure comes from Counterpoint Research's Sovereign AI Large Language Model Index. The firm studied more than 80 countries outside the United States and China, and found that roughly 55 of them have developed a domestic large language model. AMD's share of sovereign AI infrastructure is estimated at just 4%. The most mature region in the first half of 2026 was the Middle East. The United Arab Emirates Falcon H1 topped the index across all four measured dimensions, which are government-led ownership, foundational model build, local language depth, and mass application deployment. Counterpoint director Mark Einstein put it this way: "Hosting is increasingly sovereign while the AI chip source is not. The numbers show that even where countries have taken ownership of their models and their hosting dependence on someone else's compute has not been broken." That's all for this AI news flash.